It's Open Line Friday. Rush Limbaugh back at you. You're at 800-282-2882. Email address ilrushbaugh@ibnet.com. Some people might say, come on, Rush, this Obama apology. I think it is important to get the truth on this. He's not apologizing for what he said, folks. He's not apologizing for anything that's happened. He's not apologizing for what he did. He's not apologizing for Obamacare at all. He's apologizing for how you misunderstood him. He's sorry that you believed him. He employed the Limbaugh theorem. He claimed he's a victim too. It was predictable even before. When I heard that he was going to go on NBC and apologize, I knew what he was going to do. He was going to set himself up as a victim. He is victim number one, by the way, in this country. He sets himself up as an outsider. He's not really governing, and all these other people are going to have screwed something up. Damn it. And he's as excited as anybody is to get it fixed. He's as mad as anybody is that it went wrong. And he's as mad as anybody is that what he said isn't true. And then somebody's going to pay the price. Somebody's going to pay for this. And that's just the way he does it. Claimed he's a victim. He even said, look, I was burned by a website. I was burned by a website. That's the President of the United States talking. I was burned by a website. Meaning everything in this plan's cool. It's the greatest thing under the sun. It's just a stupid website doesn't work. I got burned by a website. I'm only here having to apologize. I got a stupid website. But most of all, he acts like he didn't have anything to do with the situation that people are, quote, finding themselves in. Yes, he didn't have anything to do with it. It's your problem. He's really sorry that you believed him. This is like all these athletes that get caught. They say, that's not me. The person that stole that car and ran it into the bridge abutment with an alcohol level of 5 point. That's not who I am. Well, that's where you live. Well, that's not who I am. And if I've offended anybody, I am really sorry. So you don't apologize for what you do. You apologize for however incorrectly people interpreted what you did. If he were really sorry about these cancellations, he'd do something about it. He could remove these provisions. He could do any number of things if he were really sorry about what's happening to people, he could change it. But we know this. He's changing anything he wants anytime. But he's not changing anything. And by the way, numbers are tough on the radio, but he keeps throwing this number out. 5% of the population, as though it's no big deal. We're only talking about 5% of the population. Not any big deal. It's just a minor. Well, one way of putting that number in perspective, gays, best guesstimates, gays are 1.7% of the population, according to UCLA, not me. According to UCLA, the gay population of America, 1.7%. But we're concerned about gays, aren't we? I mean, we don't, in dealing with gay rights or gay this or gay that, you never hear Obama say, well, we're just talking about 1.7%. No, it's made to sound like they're half of the population. But in this case, well, it's just 5% of the population. It's only 15 million people. Come on. That's 15 million people. Real, live, breathing human beings whose lives are being torn upside down because of all of this. And let's keep something else in mind. Of the supposedly, remember the best guess number that's been, I guess the most consistent number thrown around of the uninsured, I guess, is around the 30, 45 million, 43 number. And of that number, only about 18 million could afford insurance and decided not to get it. Here, the point is that less than 5% of the population was enough to justify Obama completely destroying our healthcare system. In other words, whatever the number is uninsured, 30 million, The vast majority of them were uninsured on purpose. They were young people. They didn't want to spend the money on it. They weren't running around thinking they were going to die the next day. They weren't running around thinking they were going to get in a car crash that would send them into bankruptcy. They weren't thinking they were going to get a terminal disease the next day. They were eating trans fats. They were drinking beer, 32-ounce soft drinks, and enjoying life. They did not want to buy health insurance. In fact, the vast majority of the uninsured didn't buy it on purpose. The Democrats are running around, oh, woe is us, all these poor people. Everybody's desperate to have health insurance and they can't afford it. So we had to upend, essentially, for 5% of the population, we had to totally upend the American healthcare system. And it's now a disaster. And I don't care how you slice it. The President of the United States repeatedly for 3 years looked the American people in the eye and knowingly lied. Don't forget what we know. It's in the Federal Register, the Bible, the diary of the federal government. Administration officials, in discussions with each other at various levels, departments, all agreed that when Obamacare was implemented, 93 million Americans would lose their current plans. They knew this. They planned on that. Again, if everybody liked their plan, why reform anything? If everybody liked what they had, I mean, Obama's running around saying, if you like your plan, you can keep it. Why did he say that? Why did he lie? Well, one of the reasons was to get support for the reform that was coming. Another reason for the lie was to create this image, but that not much was really going to change. That all we're going to do here is insure the uninsured. If you like your plan, you get to keep it. If you like your doctor, you get to keep it. Because of my brilliance, your premium's going to go down $2,500. Well, who wouldn't support that? I get to keep my plan. The uninsured get insured, and it costs me $2,500. Who wouldn't sign up for that? So it was a purposeful, multi-pronged lie. But the proof in the pudding, if 90% of the American people like their plans, why reform anything? Why blow up the healthcare system and then try to put it back together under government control if everybody was already happy? And they must have been, or otherwise Obama wouldn't have lied about that. I'm sure they had all kinds, I'm sure they do now. I think the reason for this faux apology yesterday was focus group polling. I'm sure they're being beat up left and right in the focus. I'm sure that they looked at the election results in Virginia and they're scared to death. They know what an albatross around Democrats next this Obamacare is. So he goes out and now compounds the original lie with a fake apology. But I want to focus here on the original lie and ask you to think about that for a second. Throughout this whole debate, one of the things that Democrats and the president said was that the healthcare system's broken and nobody's happy with it. But the primary, and I don't think there's any question about this, the primary sales technique, the number one selling point used by the president was, if you like what you have now, you can keep it. That was what he used to sell everybody on accepting it. Why tell them that if you know you're going to blow it up and if you know nobody's going to be able to keep their plan? Why tell them that? Because there really was no justification for doing what he's doing in real life, because most people liked what they had. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made his number one selling point, you get to keep yours if you like it. If he hadn't lied about that and instead told people that because of what we need to accomplish, you're not going to be able to keep your current plan, he might not have been reelected. If he would have gone anywhere near truthfulness on this, he might not have been reelected. So the whole thing here is a I mean, a giant scam predicated on a false premise. The false premise are two of them. All these uninsured, and everybody that had insurance was miserable and angry and hated it. And that equaled the need for massive reform. But then, oh, by the way, you like your plan, you can keep it. You like your doctor, you can keep. Well, why even say that to people if they're mad at what they've got and don't like their plans and they're fed up? So the number one selling point was you don't have to change anything. So why do we do this in the first place then? Well, look, the reason we're doing this is because Barack Obama is a leftist activist, a socialist, a communist, a collectivist. I don't care what you want to call, but he's not just a liberal Democrat. He is far more radical than that. And the purpose of taking over the healthcare system is the control of as much of everyone's life as possible. And running the healthcare system from Washington gives you that control. Because everything you do in your life is at some point going to have a cost component to your health care. Because we're all going to die and we're all going to get sick and we're all going to need treatment. And with those people in charge of who gets treated and who doesn't, based on how much it's going to cost, they get to control how you live. So they then now get to go ban trans fats. Yeah, we're going to ban trans fats because it leads to more heart attacks, and that puts a cost to the healthcare system. And they make it look like they're doing it all for your benefit because they really care about you. But government doesn't care. Obama doesn't care. Obama coerces. But I'm still fixated on the very beginning. If you like your plan, you get to keep it. The number one selling point, which to me argues no need for any change. And he lied through his teeth because he knew people weren't going to be able to keep their plans. If he had gone on television and said for 2 years, sorry, you can't keep your plan. For my Obamacare to work, you're going to have to give up your plan and join a different pool, and some of you are going to find your costs doubled and tripled. He wouldn't have been reelected. He had to lie to people, but he lied about something deeply personal. And now he goes out with F. Chuck Todd at NBC and wants you to think that he's sorry he lied to you. But he's not sorry he lied to you. He's happy he got away with it. He's happy that he can now go apologize for you misunderstood. He's sorry if you're offended. He's sorry if you bothered to believe him. And now he's using a Limbaugh theorem. Gee, we all kind of got screwed here, but I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to find out who did this. In his interview with F. Chuck Todd, Obama never once mentioned those lousy old plans that he was constantly trashing just the day before. That must not be testing well with the focus groups. Those lousy old plans, remember that? Because that lousy old plan turns out was the one you liked and wanted to keep. That lousy old plan, we're going to get rid of it, and you're going to get an upgrade. It may cost you a little bit more. He didn't tell you that, though. The big takeaway, Obama doesn't care, folks. That's what's really clear. He lied for power. He lied for gain, personal gain, political power. He lied to fundamentally transform this country into something it was never intended to be. And he is happy as a clam that he has gotten away with it.